Hi, this is Freya from Otherworldly, and today we're going to take a look at not so much me, although I've decided to have a little fun with Bakes on Mesh and dug out an old system layer catsuit and an older skin from Thule and layered on some makeup layers from Alaska Metro, all on the Slink Redux body and head. So I'm continuing to play around with base on mesh at every opportunity. However, this video is about the MyStore store components from Fanatik architecture, which was released a couple of days ago. And it is, I'm going to show you all sorts of bits and pieces, but I thought we'd start with what you get in your folder. I've unpacked a couple of things here, so we'll ignore these two folders first and look at the contents unpacked first. So you get base shapes. I'm going to show you some of these soon. We can start actually by looking at the two charts for base shapes to give you a sense of what is included. And as you can see, you've got various building components like stairs and platforms. You've got walls, and you have, of course, various ways of displaying your ads, information. You've got little rails to set on the platforms and so on. I think I'll actually do this first then, and I'll show you. I've rest out just a few examples here so that you can get a sense of what's included. This one here is a plain decor item really, and then you've got various sort of podiums, ad spaces like I said, these sort of modular stair components where you could put as a central piece, having it leading up to other platforms. Tables, like these very sort of straight geometric and scaled down, scaled back pieces. Here's another type of ad board. Here's a large platform. An example of a wall space. So you can build together all sorts of styles of I guess, you know, very modern, futuristic style stores. That's a little bit why I went for this sort of science fiction-y look, because it is, it has a bit of that vibe, these components being, you know, very white, grey, geometric, and clean like that. And then you can also, if you prefer not to build together yourself, at least not to start with, there are 5 examples included, different store sizes like you can see here, using various components. Those could be used either as they are or as a starting point. See what this one, I think this is just the overall. Yes, here you can see a couple of the examples of the pre-baked buildings. And you'll also see some of the details here. You've got 40 base shapes. You've also got, among the base shapes, there's a whiteout box and a whiteout plane, so that you can just have it all within a white box and on a white floor. And here, which is then even more useful, of course, is you get textures for these base shapes, and you get texture packs for each of the pre-made stores as well. So here we could take a little look at, for example, what the textures for the base shapes look like. So you have your occlusion textures in 1024, of course. So if you were to want to change up the texturing, you've got the baked textures here, and you will be able to apply those if you put down a base texture. Here's also where you've got all of the various base shapes. You can see here's the extras like the whiteout box and white plane. So a lot of pieces. And we'll see here what the note card says as well. What we've got here is, objects for building platform stores. I mean, this is not something that you would use if you were building a store on the ground level. This would be for more of a skybox. I guess you could build surroundings for it on on the ground floor as well, but then you would need to be able to do some of that additional building yourself, because these components aren't really meant to build a whole store with walls and exteriors. This is the inner part of the store. And then it's, as I said, very easy to add on more parts, increasing the floor area, building it upwards if you want to do that. And I thought we're going to show you finally some of the examples that I'll show you all 5 examples, because I made this platform here and I decided to res out all of the example stores. When it's all white, it's very easy to get lost as to where I am. So we will start with this lovely hexagonal. I really like the style of this one. As you can see, it is within the whiteout box, which is obviously set as being viewable. You can look in from the outside once you're in there, which I probably should show you. Here we go. And there you'll see that you've got all white surroundings. So if you were to use this as a platform, it would appear as fully enclosed from the inside. You could of course change it if you have multiple things in the sky. You could set it so that it is closed from the outside as well by having non-transparent textures from the outside. So here you can have your central area. You could put up a few more ad boards here. You walk up the steps to each and you have 3 spaces like this. This makes for, quite a few products to start with, really. And as I said, you could build up a central area here and have more there. You could probably have some smaller boards here as well. It's perhaps not the easiest to expand on, but it is a very cool design. And I'm going to just zoom out and give you a look at the others as well. Oops, and that's our platform above. Here's a more basic style that would be fairly easy to expand on. It's using these building blocks laid down. It's just got some basic stairs and platforms. I think this is probably one I'd want to add some things to if I were starting using this as a starting point for a store. It feels a little too open-ended perhaps. But on the other hand, if you were to add some railings or if you were to put up products along the edges here, you could enclose it a bit more. It could certainly be quite a good display area. And then we move on to this one here, which is a fairly traditional, I would say, square store layout. But again, within the whiteout box, you have lots of room for products on the sides, on these walls. You could choose to align them perfectly, or you could have them a little offset like that for interest. And then you've got a large central area where you could perhaps feature new products. You could put your store information, your group signups, and all these things. These would really work as small event spaces as well. They this one expanded and built out into an event space would absolutely work. What else do we have left? We did that one, and we have the 2 over here. So we've got 2 that are a bit, again, more elaborate. It uses a lot of the different components, as you can see. We have stairs, we have railings. Here you have lots of room for products if they fit in if you could divide them up like that, for example. You've got more product tables here. Very nice layout, this one, I think. Definitely has, you have 4 different sections, so if you have different product categories, you could make use of that. And you've got these tables down here that you could perhaps highlight newer things on as well, or things like shoes and what have you. And finally, we have one that uses, again, a lot of the stairs. Has this kind of glowing white interior part here where you could start people off and then they wander up. Some nice billboard space here, definitely room for more products. And then these large areas up here where you could put more things. This one would favor larger displays, and plenty of room to add in displays. Maybe have these for large backing photos to show off products, and then you have smaller vendors in front of it. So these are really cool components. I don't have a store build in mind right now. I have been thinking of putting my shapes somewhere. I was also noodling around with the idea of at some point doing a Bakes on Mesh event to try and highlight this, but I realized that maybe I have a few too many things going on to just start off on that like that. So probably won't be doing a store build myself anytime soon, but I think that this would be a very nice kit to have in your arsenal. And if you change them up with different surroundings and a different build around it, and you don't go with the wide out space, I think it still look pretty unique. All kits will eventually get recognized, but I think as long as it shows off your products in a good way and makes the products shine, that's the most important part. So that is the latest stuff from Fanatik, and I hope you've enjoyed this little overview, a bit different from what I usually do. A little less playing around with lighting and all that, because these actually, I'll show you actually a bit quickly before I finish up. They take lighting quite strongly, so keep that in mind if you specify a lighting for your sim. That because they have the white base and everything, they're going to color up quite a lot. Let's see which one I was using. Well, I think we can go with just the Morning Dream. We'll color it enough. Especially this one here. I'm not sure if this one's got a slightly different setting or something, but here you can see it really reflects the color and picks up the color, which can look really cool. That way you could specify a color for your sim, and here you can see that they pick up the greenish hue of the sky quite a lot. Let's see what happens if I move it around a little bit, if that actually affects it or not. Yeah, it's actually because the sun is right on there, so that one picks up the sun color, and the others, I think the others are enclosed from the top maybe, so they're not getting the sun color on them. But you can see how it then affects, how it picks up the greenish tones instead. I don't pretend to know exactly how this is controlled, what picks up what. And also if I go for with the ambient gray, I actually had the ambient gray, I think, for working. If I go with the ambient white, you'll see that that one picks it up very strongly as well. Maybe a little too strongly to have that as a light. And here's another very yellow one, and that one's going to pick it up and get a hint of it on the other ones. So let's go back to, what did I say I had? I had the ambient gray. or no, I actually had left it on CalWL. All right. Anyway, that is enough babbling for now, and I'm going to keep experimenting with Breaks on Mesh, so you may see another video on that soon. Don't forget to, if you're interested in Breaks on Mesh heads and so on, to check out the latest video I did before this one, which covered all of the new female Slink heads. There's now 2 male ones available as well for you guys. So until the next time.